broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Wait a minute. What the hell is this?
Hello and welcome to UFC on AfterBuzz TV. My name is Daria Berenato and I'm joined by these two gentlemen. What are your names?
Hang on, we're chatting here.
I'm here with nobody then.
You're here with my name is George Hermoza. You can follow me on Twitter at ghermoza. I have 227 Twitter followers, so hashtag road to 300 followers begins.
I'm so proud of you.
So and hopefully.
We're here with the man in black, Jay Tan.
Hi.
Talking everything UFC 190 with two special guests, two guys that are going to be fighting for the RFA in this next month on two separate cards. We'll get to that later. Curtis Blaydes and Matt Lopez, welcome to the studio.
What up, fellas?
How you doing?
So excited to have them in.
Yeah, RFA, obviously, guys, a developmental system that's been feeding a lot of fighters, successfully so, to the UFC. And these are two guys that are high on the radar, I think, obviously for RFA and certainly for UFC as well. Both of them coming in with a rocket ship up their butts.
It's so true.
Going to the top, a lot of buzz, regionally speaking, for these guys.
Yep.
We
have Matt Lopez, very young guy, never fought an amateur fight, but is doing very impressive in his pro career. And then we have Curtis Blaydes, who is said to be the next John Jones.
That's what they say.
That is a big shoe to fill, but it is now an empty shoe to fill.
Yeah.
So it's all yours.
Actually, I suppose we should probably clarify that when they start saying this guy is the next John Jones, you should probably say in the good ways.
Yeah.
Clarify that.
True. It could
in
mean
the cage.
In the cage. Bit of problems outside of the cage, but yeah, we'll just go with the in the cage part.
Well, in the octagon cage,
that
is, as opposed to the other cage. Wah wah.
Oh my Lance.
Check me out.
You are so funny. So anyway, as Jay always says, let's bring it back to bacon. Let's start from the bottom of the card, guys. This went down UFC 190 in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. It's always an exciting card when we're over in Brazil because the fans are amazing. For the first time in history, I think Ronda Rousey actually got cheered in Brazil. She said it was like her 7th time there, this being the first time she was actually cheered. So congratulations, Ronda Rousey, for turning your fans. She went from heel to babyface over there. You like that? Yeah. Little pro wrestling reference. I'm getting there.
How long did that take? 4:32. 4:32. And not only is there a pro wrestling reference, but that one brought it in.
I did it.
Yes.
I did it. Okay, I'm proud of myself. Okay, don't mind my butchering of these beautiful Brazilian names. I'm working on my Portuguese accent. But let's start at the bottom of the card. We had Luri Marajo Alcântara versus Leandro Issa. Alcântara won via unanimous decision.
Yuri Alcântara.
Yeah, you don't need to correct
Leandro
me.
Issa.
No, I'm just going to keep going.
Well, otherwise people don't know what you said.
All right, you can correct me. Then we have Warley Alves versus Nordine Taleb. Alves won via guillotine in round 2. Next on the card, we have Rafael Cavalcante versus Patrick Durkin Cummins, someone very close to yourself.
Yes.
We'll talk about that later. I'm sure you have some juicy insight for us. Cummins won via KO in round 3. And then we had Damian Maia versus Neil Magny. Maia won via rear naked choke in round 2. As George said, probably some of the best jiu-jitsu we've seen in the UFC in a long time.
In the history of the UFC,
in the
absolutely.
History of the UFC.
So great.
That was probably my favorite fight that I watched that night.
Amazing, right?
It
We'll get
hurt
to that.
to watch. Did it not hurt to watch in some ways, though?
What part hurt?
For Neil Magny fans?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
But for Damian Maia fans, or just fans of just Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in general, I mean, this guy is world-class for a reason. And
Right. It was definitely something to study.
A couple different stories in that one for sure.
We'll get to that, though. Next, starting on the main card, we have Claudia Gadelha versus Jessica Aguilar. This was heating up to be an interesting one. Jessica Aguilar coming over, former Invicta champion, facing Claudia Gadelha, the number 1 ranked UFC strawweight.
As well, right?
Yes, she was in World Series and fighting, I think, most recently.
Right.
And Claudia Gadelha won via unanimous decision, 30-27 all around. Antonio Bigfoot Silva versus Saul the Hulk Palele. Did he come out with his Hulk hands this time?
Yes, he did.
Yes, he did.
say hi to Ben Jr.
Yeah, Ben Jr. is in the house on the chat room here.
Just say hi to him.
Hi, Ben Jr.
That's it. You can continue.
Okay. Bigfoot Silva won via TKO in round 2 in 21 seconds of round 2. 21 seconds left of round 2, I think, right? Bigfoot Silva was the first professional fighter I've ever met.
Oh, really?
I was at a Strikeforce event in Dallas, Texas, and I saw him, and you can't miss him. And I went up to him and I said, "Can I take a picture with you?"
Was it nowhere like, "Can I take a picture with you?"
That's true. I was like, "Can I take a picture?" He's like, "Yeah." And I was all excited. I think I was like,
Did you put your hands up against his?
I didn't want to embarrass him. You know, I have really big hands. Next on the card, we have Stefan Skyscraper Struve versus just one of two, Antonio Rodrigo Minotauro Nogueira.
No, actually, it's Rodrigo and Rogerio, or Rodrigo and Rogerio.
Well, okay, but one of the Nogueira twins.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm reading your notes, Jay.
Nogueira twins.
I just read it right off of your notes. So if you put the wrong names.
Big Nog.
Big Nog.
Big Nog.
There you go. We'll go with that.
I'm looking at this.
It's okay. It's okay. The people that I was watching with yesterday, there was one person that said,
"No, there's Rodrigo and Rogerio."
Oh, did you write it like that?
Yeah.
There was one person that was like, "Wait, that guy's fighting again for the second time?" I'm like, "No, he obviously cloned himself, and now he can fight more than once." But
silly people.
Old school UFC days.
Pamela Sledge, what's up there? Give us a good question or two to ask for these guys here.
Okay, so Stefan Struve won via unanimous decision. Then we had Vieira versus Delano Lopez. Vieira won via unanimous decision as well. Next we have that was the Tough Brazil match. We have another Tough Brazil final match. It's Glacio Fraca versus Fernando Bruno. Fraca won via rear naked choke in round 3. Next up on the card we have Mauricio Shogun Rua. Hua.
I knew that was going to happen.
Versus.
Ooh!
We just got an explicit
For
rating.
those of you
Sorry.
on iTunes, well, no, it was on iTunes, so people won't see that gesture that you sent to me with your hand.
Say hi to your biggest fan.
Is Dodgy Claire watching?
Yeah.
Hi, Dodgy Claire. Number 1 fan. So anyway, Shogun won via unanimous decision. Next on the card, we have Rowdy Ronda Rousey versus Betch Corriea, the main event of the evening. Do I even have to say it?
That's why we played that specific song in the intro.
That is why we played it. What song did we play?
The World's Greatest by R. Kelly.
The World's
Betch
Greatest.
Corriea, new
Robert
heavyweight.
Kelly.
No, not even heavyweight champion, but
Bantamweight?
Bantam.
Women's bantamweight?
I thought maybe
That's
we'd
the
just
difference between a
mix things
heavyweight and a
up.
bantamweight.
Fair enough. But I thought we'd mix it up for once, you know?
Ronda Rousey is still the bantamweight female champion and one of the best champions, in my opinion, of the world.
Of all
34 seconds is all it took her.
Until she eventually won't be.
When she retires.
Yeah.
Well, even then, though, I won't be wrong.
Yeah.
That's true. Okay, so let's go down and let's talk about some of these events. I definitely want to talk about Patrick Cummins with you, so why don't we start there? What did you think?
That's Patrick's MO. He'll beat you up, get in
He'll
your
grind
face,
you.
and he'll literally grind you down until you saw the first 2 rounds that Fejao was still in the fight. Like
Right.
he was still swinging hard. That 3rd round, it seemed like it literally just gas tank was gone and elbows just put him out. He
All
didn't even
day.
want to be there anymore. You know.
Right.
So I think that's Pat's game though. If you guys see him in the room, you know. Guys, Mark, Bisbing, I don't care who comes in. He does the same thing to everybody.
Really?
Yeah, he runs through them, and he's an animal. Crazy.
Now, when he made his UFC debut, obviously he brought in as a last minute replacement. I forgot for whom, but he faced DC. Yeah, I forgot who he was replacing. Yeah. But there was a little bit of history. A lot of people, the buzz on him was that people didn't really know. It was almost like it was a sleeper. They didn't really know too much about him, but people that did know about him said he's really, really good. And he came in and took the reins, took the bull by the horns in terms of hyping, blowing up a story about DC and, kind of getting over him, in the wrestling room and crying and stuff like that.
That was like a perfect stars aligning kind of moment for someone. He would have never been on that card if DC's opponent didn't fall out. And
Rashad Evans, and
then Pat didn't have the previous history with DC. with the wrestling. So that's that's very rare, like that you get someone like that the stars perfectly align for him. He might not still be in the UFC right now if that didn't happen. You know what I mean?
Crazy.
Do you think that he was necessarily ready at that point? Even though a big step in competition right out the gate, but was he ready to get into the ranks at that point, do you think? Or was the stars aligning, as you said?
As far as the UFC, he definitely was ready for the UFC. Yeah. You saw it with Kingsbury. He ran through Kingsbury. He ran through the other guy he fought. For sure, he was definitely ready to be in the UFC. Going up against someone like DC on a 2 weeks notice or a week notice.
That's insane.
That's Chad Mendes territory right there.
You're asking for a bad day, but you also end up becoming the hero in some ways.
You save the day. Yeah. Even though you don't win, you're still there.
Right. I mean, I think at the end of the day, Dana White's always been known to like those kind of fighters that he can call and he can count on. He'll hold more against you if you go out there, you win, but you don't perform. He likes the guys 100%. That go out there and they put on a show, win, lose, or draw.
If you can give Dana one round of the best round he's ever seen rather than 3 boring rounds, he's going to love you.
Absolutely. I think that's something we've learned about him.
There's always a lot of moving pieces in putting these shows together and matches. And It's good to know guys that can come on, just pull out of your pocket and say, yep, come on in.
Yep.
Shout out to my man Michael Jackson. No, not the one everyone else is thinking of, but hopefully we'll be appearing on University of MMA in 2 weeks on the 16th at Club Nogueira.
There you go. I like that little plug.
Tickets available at ufmma.com.
I will be there. George will be there.
I'll be there.
Will you?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll be there. Leave us tickets. Sorry, I forgot to tell you. I'm going to be there. So we'll call. Leave my ticket.
We'll talk about it.
Okay. Anyway, no, this was one of my favorite fights on the card. Patrick Cummings, obviously, really impressive. I love having KOs on the card. This was one of a couple, and definitely an impressive fighter. Next was also a really entertaining fight, but kind of in the opposite way. Damian Maia versus Neil Magny. Magny won via rear naked choke in round 2.
Nope.
No, flip-flop that.
That would be Maia. Maia won via rear naked choke in round 2.
This was a tough one. Magny, over the last year and here, at least for me and a lot of other people, kind of has become this folk hero, going 7 in a row and almost taking on the Cerrone level of volunteering. I'm ready to fight. Let me fight. I'm ready to go. When's the next one? And
he fought 5 times last year.
5 times that as well. Like that's not easy to do. Nobody does that typically, unless you're amateur, and that's a whole other ballgame. But that, and then this was his toughest test to date, at least as far as this streak goes, and possibly in his career. But Maia just had his number. It took him down. I think took him down like right away. It was really aggressive.
I wouldn't be surprised if whoever. I mean, obviously the first round was scored. I wouldn't be surprised if that was a 10-8 round.
It was a 10-8. But
was it?
MMA Junkie scored it 10-8. I think.
Wow. I wouldn't have given it a 10-8, but he was on top. Absolutely.
He passed guard like twice, 3 times maybe, with ease.
Right. But there wasn't
damage.
Well, I was going to say, no, there wasn't any moment that I remembered where he was really that close to finish it. Yeah, it wasn't like a Maynard Frankie Edgar 10-8, or the grappling equivalent of that. But dominant, absolutely dominant. Like, Magny had no answers to get out from the basement there.
Now, you guys both come from wrestling backgrounds. So, Curtis, I want to ask you, watching a technical grappling fight like this, can you appreciate the jiu-jitsu in this? Do you like watching fights like this?
I mean, I do appreciate it because I appreciate what anyone puts a lot of time into. But I would prefer to see them on their feet. I don't like watching just like two guys out grappling each other.
That's interesting though, because you guys both come from wrestling backgrounds, but you're both great strikers. You won one of your last fights by knockout, correct? And you have 4 knockouts, right? So it's interesting to see the wrestler transform into a great boxer or kickboxer or Muay Thai artist and really show how your fundamentals get you into the game, but then you work on everything else. Have you fallen in love with stand-up more so than your wrestling, or?
Well, no, I still like to, I use my striking just to set up the takedowns, but once I take them down, I'm not looking for submissions. I'm looking just to
ground and pound.
Yeah.
Do you feel the same way?
I think if you look over, like, even like the high level guys UFC, they get that one knockout, and it's like it's a drug. It's addicting. Like my very first one, my very first fight, I knocked the guy out in the first round. I was like, holy crap, like, this is awesome. I'm not taking anybody down anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you fall in love with that. Like guys like Koscheck, or who came from a wrestling background,
Right.
Very rarely wrestles. Hendricks very rarely wrestles now.
They know they have it in their back pocket, but they don't need to use it.
It's like a lot of people forget that Chuck Liddell was like an amazing
Cal Poly.
Very
wrestler.
good example. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like Ronda Rousey with her judo. We rarely see her use her judo. She's been knocking people out.
Yeah,
She's
she
been
never submits people.
TKOing.
Has he shown?
I'm sorry. Never mind, Jay. What her last 3 wins were by? Well, she had an armbar with Katzengano, but before that, she had a TKO.
What were the other 12?
I'm saying she's evolving, and she's
You're not wrong
only
about that.
relying on her judo.
I do kind of see.
I was making the connection.
I do kind of see where they're coming from, because at times we do see some fights that are on the ground and they just can't do anything. You can tell they're trying to implement their jujitsu, but either they're passing guard or whatever it is, and it just kind of at times it does become very boring. But to see Demian Maia, who is top maybe 2, maybe even number 1 best jiu-jitsu guy in the world, guys like
you should bust him equivalently with the water thing. I think I just made up a word, but as he busts you about the water thing
for saying Maya instead of Maya,
it's driving me nuts. No less.
Maya.
You're gonna make us look bad, dude.
Well, that's a name. People butcher names, but when you can't say simple things like water. So I mean, I put Maya in the same category as like a Jacare, or as much of a scumbag he is.
Didn't Maya beat Jacare? Maya beat Jacare in Nogi, and then Jacare beat him in gi or whatever. But my thing that I was so like pumped up for that, not pumped up for that fight, but Damian Maia was so head and shoulders above Neil Magny, both in the UFC. He has a 7-fight win streak. You would think that, you know what I mean, like, okay, he's not going to pass guard so easily, or he's not going to mount, so things like that. But Maia absolutely dominated, like head and shoulders. It was crazy. That's why I was so like,
with just ease,
taken back by that.
Right,
it was a clinic.
It was ridiculous. I don't think I've ever seen, like you said, in the UFC, someone be so successful with their jiu-jitsu like that easily.
I think it's a fine-tuned craft of its own to implement jiu-jitsu in MMA. A lot of guys are black belts in jiu-jitsu in the UFC. I mean, we see it all the time. It's a common thing now. But to see somebody learn how to use it so perfectly in this sport, to match the punches and the knees and everything on the ground with the jiu-jitsu, it's an art of itself.
That's why I like watching guys like Jacare. To be on the top. And again,
impressive.
as much as I hate him, Polaris. When he's fighting, he's fine, but obviously it's after the fight, which is everybody has a problem.
It's not fine when he's fighting.
In yesterday's case, during the fight as well, when he was trying to eye gouge Jake Shields' eye. But things like that. I mean, when you're high level, you can't turn away, because if you blink, you might miss something.
Absolutely.
I'm curious, getting a little bit back to more interesting in the grappling. As it relates to MMA, but specifically going off topic with jiu-jitsu, but there's wrestling and then there's wrestling for MMA, right? For one of the ways that I know that it's different, obviously, is you have a cage as opposed to just a mat, but and that will play into strategy. But for you guys, how has it been to make that transition?
I like it. I like having a cage. That way, when I shoot, it's easier to ace off that and to climb up with that.
To trap them, right?
Yeah.
You have something behind
you can't
them.
go out of bounds. So I like that. And
is it difficult for you guys, at least in training, to bring in the aspects of striking? I mean, most of the time it's punches, but certainly knees as well. When you've got a guy down, did that take time to make that transition, or?
The interview I did, the last one, we talked about that a little bit, and that was the most frustrating part of my transition was being able to strike and cover that gap with striking and get the takedown without getting hit with the knee and without getting hit with the punch. So for me, that was the most frustrating part because you can't just dive in anymore.
Right.
You're gonna get caught with the knee. You're gonna get caught.
Do you feel like you've crossed that bridge?
Yeah.
And now you're like, okay.
Finally, I've gotten to a point where I feel now I feel comfortable on my feet, so I really don't I don't have to take the fight down. So I feel like I've finally crossed that
right.
bridge. Yeah.
I one of my favorite ways to see wrestling used in mixed martial arts is TJ Dillashaw, a guy that his striking is so good, his feet are so quick, but he just uses his wrestling just to get you off your feet for 1 second so that you know you're not safe anywhere, right? I mean, the second TJ Dillashaw is lighting you up, touching you up, you think it's going to be a stand-up match, he takes you down.
Yeah.
Then he gets right back up. Then he takes you down again. Just to kind of play with your mind and let you know, okay, you're not safe anywhere. That's one of the most brilliantly used wrestling aspects in MMA for me. Do you guys enjoy that style?
Yes. I wrestle with TJ at
Okay. Is it hard to go against?
Is he hard to go against?
Yeah, is it tricky, his style, to go against?
Oh, no. When you take out mixed martial arts and you're just talking purely wrestling, it's different. You kind of you almost create your own new style once you get to MMA. You're standing up, you're not hunched over, you know what I mean? So the most successful wrestlers in the UFC are guys that could adapt their style. They're not necessarily the guys that are like, stocky, like boom, I'm just gonna do this and I'm strong. You have to be a little bit more fluid in order to transition over to MMA.
It's really a key of using wrestling as the base and then adding everything else
on top
into that.
Yeah.
Right. Curtis, I think I heard you say before that in this next fight you're looking to use your wrestling in a similar way. Are you looking to do that, to kind of strike with him but use your wrestling when you need to, or?
Well, no, the goal is to just get in, get out as fast as I can. So
okay.
If I can take him down within 5 seconds, I will, and just ground and pound and get out of there. I don't want to get any more time I have to in the cage.
Awesome. That sounds like a good plan to me. I want to watch. Next on the card, we have Claudia Gadelha versus Jessica Aguilar. Gadelha won via unanimous decision, 30-27 all around. This was a bloody one.
Yeah.
Yes.
One-sided bloody one.
Yeah.
It was unofficially like a number one contenders bout, even though I don't think they officially ever said it. But it would make sense. Claudia actually, in my opinion, beat Joanna the first time she lost.
I agree.
Or the first time they faced each other. And
I think we all felt that way.
Yeah,
when we
and so
it,
naturally it does make sense. Also, Jessica Aguilar, who is, in many ways, people thought the number one women's strawweight in the world. Obviously not anymore. But yeah, rightfully so. Dana White already announced it. It's already going to happen.
I'm excited for Claudia Gadelha versus Joanna Jędrzejczyk. But Jessica Aguilar had plenty of legitimacy coming into this fight. I mean, she's former champs in other divisions. She trains with the American Top Team with some of the best females in the country. She definitely had a lot behind her. But I have to say, I have to be honest here, I was really disappointed with her striking. It just seemed... Jessica Aguilar. It just seemed very one-dimensional. It seemed like she only knew, or maybe not knew how to, but was only moving in and out on a straight line. Whereas I would have liked to have seen her come out, circle, get her space, find her range, and come back in when the time was right. But it seemed like she was coming out, getting hit, coming right back out, and going right back in. And it was like she was walking into the same punch over and over and over again. I don't know if it was first-time UFC jitters. I would like to think it wasn't, because she's such an experienced and veteran fighter. But I don't really know what's going on there. I kind of wouldn't be
surprised if it was. And, looking at who she's fought here, taking nothing away from them, but in the World Series of Fighting, I mean, they've been
probably the
Alida Gray, Emi Fujino, Kalindra Faria. I think one of them has like a 4-2 record. I feel they were a bit more 50-50 in terms of their record, and I feel like Claudia was just heads and shoulders above the competition that she's been facing.
Absolutely. You look at the strawweight division across the board. You look at the Invicta strawweights, which is pretty much cleared out now because UFC took them all. You look at the UFC strawweights, you look at World Series of Fighting, and combined, the best two fighters, in my opinion, in that strawweight division are Joanna Jędrzejczyk and Claudia Gadelha. So she got fed to the sharks as soon as she came in, to be fair. It was definitely
But when you're ranked
tough first fight.
considered number one in the
when
world,
you have a lot of hype
have
behind
to.
you can't fight a number 19.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? You're
And
gonna have to fight a top 5.
She came
girl.
into the UFC ranked number 15 already, having not been here before.
Yeah.
So she's definitely a tough fighter. She hung in there, even though all the blood was squirting out. She's definitely a tough girl.
Yeah,
The
Claudia
rematch.
was landing that left at will.
Yeah.
I think it was a pretty good strategy. I don't know about you guys, but I saw Claudia working working headshots a lot and then getting a takedown towards the end to
Her
secure.
takedowns for being a non-wrestler, right,
Were
amazing.
fantastic.
She blows through her.
Yeah.
For sure. And I think that, so what Claudia Gadelha looked like she was doing to me was exactly that. She was striking, tuning her up, calm, really paced herself.
Yeah.
And then at the end of each round,
Just to seal it,
strategically,
just to seal it,
to
yeah.
seal the deal, she
Yeah.
got that takedown.
She had something to
beautiful.
prove too. I believe waiting for the Wi-Fi to work here, but I believe this was her first match back since the match against Joanna Jędrzejczyk.
Yeah.
So she's got something to prove here, and certainly can make a statement with this match over somebody like Jessica Aguilar, and clearly she did it.
Yeah, I can't wait for that
Absolutely.
rematch though, because
Yeah.
as much as I thought Claudia won that fight, dude, and Jędrzejczyk has looked like a machine since then.
Arguably one of the best strikers,
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
Right?
One of the most,
But
more importantly, one of the
absolutely.
most accurate
Yeah,
strikers.
but here's the treat for us is that that's a 5-round fight now. So now
Right.
we get to see that. I don't think either girl is going down. So that's a 5-round
Right.
stand up, unless
Little
Claudia can
Griffin
get him down.
Bonner action going on.
Yeah.
Last
Yeah.
fight, Claudia was kind of
She went for
trying
the
to get her to
takedowns,
the ground.
But
Yeah.
Her
Her striking was great this time.
Yeah, I that's a treat for us. 5 rounds.
I'd like to see that one. Next up on the card, we have Antonia Bigfoot Silva versus Sao the Hulk Palele. Bigfoot won via TKO in round 2. This was an interesting one. So with the takedown, really had the top control in that first round, doing some damage from the top. Round 2, Silva stunned the Hulk with a couple kicks, and it kind of just was like that back and forth. He pinned him up against the cage, uppercut, knee, ground and pound for the final finish. What'd you guys think?
I had more opinion of the match coming out of the match than what it was here. I mean, I don't think you really. I don't think this makes major waves in terms of the rankings in
Right.
the UFC, but you've got two guys that are going to deliver with heavy shots, and it's kind of a fun attraction for the show itself. And I look and go, well, what do we do with it now?
Right.
Bigfoot has really been back and forth. Not had the best. He had good performances. His fight against Mark Hunt. Obviously, we're all gonna. It's gonna go down being one of the
Best heavyweight.
one that we all love to talk about. But between that and his other matches, and also I believe, it was only a couple years ago that I think he had went in for thyroid surgery. To halt his giantism. I think we've seen the best of Bigfoot. But there's always going to be a reason to keep him around. Like I think they'll keep him around for the sake of
Gatekeeper kind of guy.
exactly. Well, a little bit of that gatekeeper, or certainly for heavyweights.
Yeah.
Knowing that this is a guy that's going to deliver.
Right.
But I get a bit concerned about to what end with his personal health.
Right.
Palele as well. Less issue, but he'll be a guy for their cards down under Australia and stuff.
I think they're definitely two guys that can hold a show still, like you said, but they're not going to be, I don't see them headlining anytime soon. But Curtis, you're in this heavyweight division. You look at two guys like this that have been in the UFC for quite some time now. Do you think you're the newcomer, you're going to come in hot off the track and kind of blow these guys away, or do you see them as hard competition? What do you think?
Well, they're both the veterans. I would respect that, but I do feel like after watching that fight, I feel like my grappling, I could take down either one of them, and once I take anyone down, I don't let you back up. So that would be the end
You
of
feel
that.
like just grind them down?
Yeah, just take down and ground and pound.
I'd like to see that.
Is there one or the other that you think might be more favorable, like one that you'd prefer, or?
I look at them both the same. They don't really move around much. They stand in front of you, which is easier for me to take them down. And neither one of them is great at jiu-jitsu. That's really my only kryptonite right now.
Bigfoot's a black belt, isn't he?
I wouldn't be
I've never seen him
afraid of
that
him on the
big.
ground.
I'm just curious now.
So, speaking from someone that has never seen you fight, to our viewers, what would your style be per se? What do you like to do in the cage?
I like to just get you moving backwards, get you back on the cage, and kind of like almost like RDA's fight against Pettis, like how he kept getting him on the cage. And
Yeah, absolutely.
losing off that, just like that.
Okay, so I like that style. So
grind you out. I like it. Same a lot can be said about the next fight though as well. Another heavyweight clash between Stefan Struve and Big Nog.
The skyscraper. Can we just talk about how far over his head goes?
The cage.
It's like a baby in a baby game thing. The playpen.
A crib?
No, not one of those.
Okay.
The little like the Rugrats thing.
okay,
that the Rugrats are stuck in and they get the screwdrivers. Okay, we won't go there. Anyway, Stefan the skyscraper Struve versus. Can we just go with Big Nog?
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks,
No,
guys.
get it. Come on. You got this. Do it.
Big Nog.
Antonio, Rodrigo, Minotauro, Nogueira.
I mean,
Rodrigo, but
I'd still give the.
Rodrigo. It's
I
the
think,
R.
I think Bruce Buffer does it better, but you're up
Yeah.
there though.
Well, I mean,
You're
come
up there.
on. I'm trying, guys. Anyway, so it started off with a bunch of clinch work. Stefan Struve using his knees, elbows a little bit. Round 2, Nogueira gets the takedown. A couple of submission attempts, nothing crazy. Struve starts finding his accuracy and his range, I think, in round 3, and really starts lighting up Big Nog with some really good knee and elbow combinations. He was landing that front teep kick to the
All day.
stomach
Like 3 in a
all
row.
day. I was like, awesome. What did you think of this fight?
I feel like you said he started off real slow, and then the last round, that's when he really found his range and his rhythm. But I would like to see him in the future, him coming out using, he has the longest arms in the UFC. I don't see why he doesn't
Pump that jab.
all day. He should never get caught up in a clinch unless he wants to clinch. And even in the clinch, I would have liked to see him throw more knees. Like he's so tall and he can use the leverage to control the fight, but he doesn't really do that.
Absolutely.
So
I was thinking the same thing. I'm watching him with this long, I'm like, oh, these knees have so much power behind them.
He doesn't use them much.
Absolutely. What did you think of this fight?
Awesome. I think this was probably one of Struve's better, since his layoff, his better performances. The third round, I think he came into his own and started finding his rhythm and really kind of, I think like Dana said, Nogueira they're only like 35 or 36, right?
Right.
They look like
stuff.
They look like they're like 49. Like they've been
looking like that for a long time, but
Yeah.
now they're fighting like that too, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I think it's just
It's time for him to
hang it up.
stop fighting.
Yeah, for sure.
I think
for
it is
sure.
official though. I think Dana White
he said he's gonna have a spot for him on a job
just
for
in the
him.
office.
Yeah.
I mean,
Be
he'd be a great Brazilian ambassador
Right?
for that too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
He speaks
Look up
English.
them.
He speaks good English. He's he would be.
It'd be nice for him to actually make the announcement, though. I think Dana was kind of saying, "Yeah, I'm ready.
You're
It's
out of
done."
it's over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll let him say that. But no, I thought it was an entertaining fight. I would have really liked to have seen Stefan Struve step it up in the first round rather than the third round. I think he's one of those guys that kind of is slow getting on.
Did you with Ariel Helwani, his post fight press conference? He said he threw up 20 times on the way over to the
That
arena.
story as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
he had
food
that
poisoning, right?
might have been to play why he was sluggish getting out, but
That's very true. To come in there and still get the win when your stomach's upset like that, I was telling these guys, I was like, I couldn't imagine going into a fight with a worse sickness.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you could fight through a sore throat, you could fight through pretty much anything, but a stomach ache?
yeah.
I mean, come on. You're really vulnerable, right?
afraid you're gonna crap your pants.
Come on, guys. It's definitely a scary thing going on there. So next on the card, we have two Tough Brazil finale fights. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really keep up with.
I didn't
Tough
even
Brazil.
watch.
Fourth season.
I didn't
Well,
watch
the
it.
bantamweight final was like a battle of the guillotines for a second. It's like
Yeah.
one of them and the other one. Yeah.
Literally.
Back and forth.
Was it
Deep,
bantamweight or
deep
lightweight? Oh, it was
guillotine.
bantamweight. Yeah.
Bantamweight, yeah.
Yeah, so this season, the fourth season of Ultimate Fighter in Brazil, fighters, the coaches themselves were Shogun Rua, who we saw here, and originally scheduled to be Anderson Silva. And
Right.
he apparently was on for 3 episodes before because of his steroid suspension, which I think has yet fully to be resolved.
No.
In front of the Nevada State Athletic Commission. NSAC did force him to come off the show. They ended up replacing him with Lil Nog, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who, of course, they fought in the co-main event. So what was going to be a season of coaches not fighting in the end ended up being a season of coaches fighting and doing a fantastic a rematch of a fantastic, kind of Hall of Fame fight.
A decade
Although
ago.
I would love to see Shogun versus Anderson Silva.
Well, that was never going to happen. But
That's
yes,
what I
I would
would
love
love
to see it. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
of
so
course.
just hang out at Black House once in a while.
I
apparently.
think Anderson
on
Silva,
Fridays.
Just to go of course, like I'd love to see Anderson Silva now that maybe he's not going to be in that title contention, just to face guys like Shogun or to face maybe Lyoto Machida someday. You never know.
If we can get this thing cleared, yeah.
It is kind of a fun thing not having Anderson as the champ, because you can kind of, all those fights we wanted to see, let's put him against this guy, let's put him against this guy. I agree. It's definitely a fun thing to play with. So we have Reginaldo Vera versus Delano Lopez. Vera won via unanimous decision. Lopez had 2 really deep guillotines. Vera had
They were trading.
2 really deep guillotines. And it kind of just went back and forth the entire fight.
Yeah, I think what's interesting is that this was obviously these 2 matches. Nobody in the U.S., he'd say nobody, but a lot of people, an unfair amount of people, did not pay attention to this season. And so for me, much like when Tough Latin America season, they showed up on, the finalists showed up on the show. I said, who are these guys? Why should I necessarily care about them? But, for all of that, they were pretty decent fights. These guys brought it. I think the trade of the guillotines is a big story for this one. There was a bantamweight and lightweight were the two weights in the season. And it delivered nicely. They were all tight and, kept wondering who was anybody actually going to tap.
Yeah, they were definitely fired up. I think anytime you see Ultimate Fighter fights, it has a little bit of a different tone and pace to it, because these guys are fighting.
You're still trying to make it.
You're still trying to make it. You're not there. You don't have that safety net of like, oh, they'll give me another shot. Yeah. You are fighting for your shot in the UFC. Not that anybody has a safety net in the UFC. Yeah. We all know how that goes. But no, these guys were definitely fired up. I think it's something to say that MMA fans are really intelligent to the point where they can appreciate the level of martial arts in these fights, even if they don't know the names. I think MMA is one of those things where we love the Conor McGregors, we love the Ronda Rouseys. I specifically, particularly like guys that open their mouths and talk, because I think it's fun. But as MMA fans, we can also appreciate a good fight, even if we don't know who the guys are.
As human beings or as fight fans, we can. The bar that I was in watching this show.
Yeah, how did the crowd sound?
They were hyped. The 2 guys sitting next to me, shout out to Kyle and Marvin.
Good memory.
You weren't drinking, huh?
No, I was. After several of those Stellas, I'm surprised I did. But they ended up betting on this. They were just picking blue and red because of the colors of the shorts.
That's so funny.
And and Kyle was going batshit for it. Like he was hyping, and they were like on each other and stuff, talking about these guys that they had no idea who the heck they were. And it spoke to that. This whole show in general, I thought. Me personally, coming into the show, I really didn't feel like it was. I wasn't excited about the show itself. Right. But as we talk about it, and as they played out, the matches were fantastic. Yeah. And this was one of them.
Although it was a great match, we also had Glacio Fracca versus Fernando Bruno. Fracca won via rear naked choke in round 3. That was another great match by the Ultimate Fighter Brazil guys. Next, we have Mauricio Shogun Hua versus Little Nog. I'm just going to go with that. Shogun won via unanimous decision. That was probably my favorite fight on the card. Did you guys agree?
That was my favorite one. Yeah, for
Good fight. One fight of the night bonus,
it's
which
a
was
good
pretty
continuation
cool.
of their last fight, which was 10 years ago in Pride, that fight was amazing. And this fight,
no letdown, really.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, especially that first round, and it did look like Shogun was getting rocked first. I thought he was going to go down, but it was a good fight overall. Both guys now.
Definitely entertaining fight. I think Shogun looked better throughout all 3 rounds. But then the main event of the evening, we had Rowdy Ronda Rousey versus Bethe Correia. This fight was not only special because it was Ronda Rousey, but ironically, where she got her nickname, Rowdy Ronda Rousey, is based off of a wrestling star, Roddy Piper. And
Roddy Piper. Why am I having trouble saying that?
Well, because it's 3 R's and it's like a tongue twister.
No, because I wanted to say Rowdy Ronda Rousey. Now it's become so ingrained now.
But anyway, that's where she got her nickname from.
I remember watching her first fight, not her first fight ever, but the first time I saw her was during a Strikeforce Challengers. I think it was like It was the day before Survivor Series 2011.
Uh-huh.
So it was like November 18th, 2011, I think it was. But I remember, first off, obviously being a big wrestling fan, I was like, well, her name's Rowdy. And not only that, but kind of having that Jean LaBelle connection with Roddy Piper and now Ronda Rousey. So, someone to keep an eye on. So I'm kind of cool. I'm cool. But it's kind of cool that now seeing her progression, not only as a fighter, but just as a human being in general. And just
Absolutely.
this girl has become, I mean, we played World's Greatest for a reason. Because I really do think she's the pound for pound best fighter, best female athlete, not just best female fighter, best female athlete ever.
Absolutely, hands down.
Athlete?
All due respect, well, yeah.
What? Where's your beef?
Serena Williams, come on.
No, I don't know. I was going to say with all due respect to Serena Williams and
I think there's definitely some athletes that are amazing out there, but Ronda Rousey is the most dominant in her sport, and I think the most dominant in any of the sports. Serena Williams had some tough matches, and I'm sure she's probably just as dominant in tennis, but I don't know enough about
I don't disagree
tennis,
with
to be
your
fair.
opinion, but I'm asking you, do you think the argument can be made?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So
easily.
The fact that the argument can be made is like that alone.
Point proven, yeah.
Exactly.
So anyway, Ronda Rousey, 34 seconds is all it took for her to knock out Corriea, someone that's known to be a brawler, someone that's known to be really tough in there, and someone who's undefeated prior to this fight. Ronda Rousey proved once again that she has another weapon in her arsenal, not just judo,
Punches
not
and
just
bunches.
Let me say this too.
Everything.
And emotionally, Betch broke her. If you look at a lot of the interviews pre-fight, she broke her. Like she'd be crying. Like she, it got very emotional of her.
Yeah.
So the fact that most people might not be well with emotions in the cage. Not Ronda. She's got certain facts. She's become a spectacle.
She's always
so
been
many
able
ways.
to take emotions and
Carpet them.
Well,
drive them
not like
in the
a-
right
Ronda
way.
admitted that this fight was the most emotional fight because she did bring up Ronda's father. I mean,
Right.
you don't talk about family like that, especially when they're deceased.
Well, I think it was just
And-
a suicide reference, and Ronda connected
Right.
it to her
She
father.
connected it to her father.
Understandably so.
And you know what? She channeled all of that energy, all of that anger, all of that aggression, and turned it into technical, flawless, amazing knockout power. So
Yeah.
congratulations, Ronda Rousey, for being the most dominant female athlete on the planet, as was crowned a couple weeks ago at the awards. Guys, tell us what you have coming up really quick, and then we got to go.
August 21st, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I'll be fighting out there. Access TV. Check it out.
RFA?
RFA.
Awesome.
I'll be on RFA August 7th.
Yeah.
St. Louis.
St.
No
Louis.
access.
All right, guys, we have the little John Jones coming up, trailblazing through.
Who knows? John Jones might move up someday, so we might
I hope
see.
not.
He was like, no.
good.
But anyway, a guy that everybody is talking about, people big in this world are talking about. He's training with the best of the best. He comes out here to LA just to train with the best of the best. Matt Lopez, a guy that's never had an amateur fight, like I said before, and is tearing up the pro division. RFA, this is your third RFA fight. Congratulations. Hopefully we see you both in the UFC soon.
You will.
Thank you for coming on AfterBuzz TV. We'll see you guys later.
Thank you.
Thank you.
G. Hermoza wrote to 300 followers.
At Tough Daria. I don't know how many followers.
Oh, it's hashtag.
Get out of here, guys. Don't listen to us.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.